Close your eyes. Picture a boxing ring. But not the bright lights, not the roaring crowds. Just a child, small, alone, standing where giants once stood. This is where our story begins. Not with glory, not with gold, but with a name that weighed more than any championship belt. They never tell you what it's like to grow up in a house where the walls breathe legends, where your bedtime stories aren't about princes, but knockouts. Every morning, Julio Jr. woke up to two realities: the God the world worshipped, and the father who barely spoke to him. At 12 years old, he stepped into the gym for the first time. Not for love, not for pride, to prove he existed. What happens when the world gives you everything, except the one thing you need? Yourself. The other boys? They fought for trophies. Julio? He fought for air, for space, for someone, anyone, to see him, and not just the name. This is the moment Julio César Chávez Jr. became two men. The prince the world wanted, and the boy no one heard screaming. "17 years old, undefeated, and utterly lost. Every punch Julio Jr. threw came with an echo, not from the walls, but from the ghosts standing behind him in every corner of that ring. Oh, he played the part well. The rich kid, the party prince, but midnight always came. And with it, the ritual. 2 Vicodin before sparring, 3 more to sleep. The math was simple. Numb the body, silence the mind, and maybe, just maybe, the voice would stop asking, "Is this all you are?" September 15, 2012. The night the world saw the truth. Not that Julio Jr. couldn't fight, but that he'd been fighting alone his whole damn life. They buried him that night. Not the man, the myth, the idea that legacy could ever be inherited. Funny how salvation works. It doesn't come in a title belt or $1 million check. It comes in 4 pounds, 11 ounces, and eyes that look at you like you're just Papa. And so, the ghost was left standing in the ring, while the man, he finally walked away. They never warn you about the silence after the crowd leaves, when the only voice left is the one in your head that whispers, "Fraud." The pills stopped working. The money meant nothing. And that name, that goddamn name, became a noose around his neck every time he stepped into the ring. Rock bottom isn't a place. It's a person you barely recognize in the mirror. They took the belts, they took the respect. But when they took his daughter, that's when the real fight began.
Puppy, when are you coming home?
There are moments that split a life in half. For Julio, it came kneeling in the dirt of Sonora, unburying the man he'd pretended to be, to find the boy he'd left behind. No more ghosts, no more scripts, just calluses and confessions and the terrible freedom of having nothing left to lose. Legends aren't born in rings, my friends. They're forged in funerals, the ones we hold for the people we pretended to be. You never notice the exact moment you become a ghost. But you always remember the second you decide to haunt yourself back to life. Funny thing about rock bottom, it makes a damn good foundation. No more bright lights, no more excuses. Just leather on flesh, sweat on concrete, and for the first time in 20 years, silence. All those years chasing approval, and it took losing everything to hear the only words that ever mattered. Mijo, ya no te lastimes. Son, stop hurting yourself. This is where legends go to live. Not in highlight reels or bank accounts, but in the echo of your footsteps when you walk into a room full of kids who know the weight of a name they didn't choose. Strange, isn't it? The moment you stop chasing greatness is when you finally become what they said you could never be. Not a god, not a disgrace, just a man who learned too late that blood isn't inherited. It's spilled, then wiped clean by the next generation. The bell rings, the crowd leaves, and somewhere beyond the lights, a boy who was never meant to win stands because he finally learned how to stay.
Again, puppy again.
They called him Spoil, entitled. But the truth? This silver spoon kid fought his last 12 title defenses with broken ribs and a leaking retina because the pain of quitting hurt more than the injuries. Every combo he threw at 17, his father's. Every defensive stance, his father's. Even his blood type felt borrowed. Until one night. The real story isn't in the headlines. It's in the ink they never photographed, the whispers between rounds, the unseen war of a man who had to destroy the legend to save the boy. Here's the secret they never told Julio or you. Every great fight ends the same way. Alone in your corner, staring down the ghost of who you swore you'd be. Respira, mijo. So, what's your unsanctioned fight? The addiction? The father? The dream they said was too much for you? Julio's story was never about boxing. It was about choice. To wear the name, break it, or write it fresh in your own blood. Julio César Chávez Jr. never became his father. And that was his greatest victory. Because the hardest fight isn't for glory or belts or even love. It's the daily decision to rise when your bones scream stay down. To forgive the ghosts who shaped you. And to pass on only the fire, not the burns. You're in the ring too. Maybe your gloves are spreadsheets or paintbrushes or night shift uniforms, but the principle remains. Every morning you answer the bell, and that makes you legendary. If this story left you breathless, throw us a like a 12th round uppercut. Ring that notification bell harder than a judge's scorecard. And remember, your comeback starts after you hit subscribe.